Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com, and this is the FirstMix Pro from Gemini, one of a small series of controllers that Gemini has in the FirstMix range. This is the only one we think you should take anywhere near seriously, and actually we think it is really good value for the money. It's only $149, which is a price drop since it was first launched. For that money you get the controller, some software. The software is called MixVibes. It's an LE version of their CrossDJ package and it's very good. And a built-in audio interface. Now that means that you can plug in your headphones and you can plug in your speakers, powered speakers or amplifying speakers, and you're off. That's all you need. Of course you need a laptop to run the software on. So for $149 on paper, that's a pretty good deal. In practice, let's find out. So it looks and feels like most budget DJ controllers when you get past the real cheapo tiny little things that you can buy in toy shops. You know, it's reasonably full-sized, although quite compact, and it's laid out in a very standard way. The big thing about this controller, which is better than a lot of controllers that cost double the money, are the jog wheels. The jog wheels are really nice. They're heavy, there's a lot of metal in them, the outside is rubber, and they spin nicely, they've got weight in them, and they just feel really nice. They feel like the jog wheels on kind of cheap to medium priced CDJs, DJ CD players. That's a good thing, because especially coupled with the software, which has got a kind of, I won't go into the technical detail, but it's got a CD mode, which these are really suited to. It does feel very much like DJing on, like I say, cheap to medium price CD decks. Now that's really good if you want to learn on something and then move up onto that kind of gear later on. Great jog wheels. The rest of the controls are okay. The transport buttons are fine. These little hard buttons are pretty much what they are. These are a bit close together and also feel a little bit flimsy. The pitch faders are very short. I found you could get maybe 1/10 of a BPM kind of fineness out of them. So in other words, to get from say 125 to 126 BPM, you could make it move 10 steps, which is pretty good. It's okay, it's not brilliant. Best DJ controllers will give you 100th rather than 1/10, but they're all right. And overall the controls are pretty comparable to most DJ controllers of this kind of price, which is all right, but you probably wouldn't want to break dance on the thing and expect it to carry on working like you can on really high-end mixes and DJ gear. This is one thing I really liked about it. Right in the middle there, that little button there, record. You can actually record your sets by pressing one button on this unit. The software lets you do it. You see, a lot of the software you get in the box with these things is sneaky in that you get it home, you install it, it's in the box, you don't have to pay anything extra for it, but then why would you know that you had to at all? And then you can't record. The record function is either not there or it's disabled, and they want you to buy the full version of the software in order to record, and other things as well. With this, the software that comes with it not only lets you record easily, but there's nothing else I could see anyway that was disabled on it that the full version of MixVibes CrossDJ has. In other words, you're getting the full version. The only limitations are that you have to plug this unit in order for the software to work. So if you expect to then, later on in your DJ career, buy something better and continue using the same software, at that point you'll have to buy it. I think the mappings are disabled, and that's the technical reason why the controller's needed. I don't think it's possible to change the way the software works with external hardware at all. Plug this in and it'll work just like the full price version. Anything else, you're going to need to go and upgrade it. But like I say, the record button works. It's so important to record your sets when you're a DJ, especially when you're learning. It's the only time you're really going to forget the DJ side of the equation and become the audience. It's listening back to your sets. So it's really nice to see that on a beginner controller. Apart from that, it's all pretty basic, it's all pretty standard. Because there's not many controls, the looping is limited. The cues, there's actually 6 cues per side, which is quite generous, but you can't delete the cues from here. The effects, again, there's more control in the software than there is on the hardware for effects, just because there aren't really enough buttons here to do very much. Another thing I didn't like was the fact that normally on jog wheels like this, the metal bit lets you do scratch motions, so that's like holding a piece of vinyl, you'll get the scratch noise. The outside lets you do what's called nudge. A nudge is when you slow down a tune very slightly, or speed it up very slightly, in order to keep it in time with the other one. And normally, when you're in what's called scratch mode, which is it's always on a button, there's a scratch button there, that's what you'll get. This will be scratch and this will be nudge. On these, when you put it into scratch mode, the whole thing is scratched. So even if you go like that, it'll make a scratchy noise. You go like that. So you don't get that nudge. You need to turn scratch off, and then the whole thing is that behavior. It's a small thing, and if you've never known any different, it probably won't bother you. But to people who are used to the way most DJ controllers work, it's a slightly irksome characteristic of it. Let's have a tiny look at what's on the front and back. So on the front here, there is a microphone socket. The microphone just goes straight through the unit and straight out the back, and there's a volume control there. It mixes with whatever you're doing on the computer, so you don't see the microphone input on your software. You can't put effects on it, you can't do anything fancy with it, it just goes through, which is again normal at this kind of price point. And there's a headphone socket. It's only the little one, it's only the 1/8 inch, so it will only fit that size headphone rather than the big chunky one, but then most headphones nowadays have the choice. That's not really a deal breaker. And then there's volume controls for both. And on the back, I think I might have shown you this earlier, I can't remember, there are just 2 outputs, and that's it. So it's as basic as you can get, really. But because those joggles are good, and because the software is good, and because it comes with an audio interface built in that gives you headphones and master out, and because it's so cheap, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really good controller. The cheapest controller that we have recommended on Digital DJ Tips in the past has been the MixTrack Pro, which has now been replaced by the MixTrack Pro 2. However, the MixTrack Pro costs a good, even now at the price you can get it at, having it been superseded by a newer model, it's still $100 more expensive than this. Now, to put that into context, you could buy a really nice pair of headphones, or you could even buy a copy of our How to Digital DJ Fast DJ course with the change that you get buying this over buying the MixTrack Pro.